Angela and I have been planting our garden, and I gotta be honest with you, we've learned a valuable lesson. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. My name is Jason, and Angela and I have been putting in the garden this last couple of days. I mean, we were working on it. Then if you follow us and see our community tab posts, we got sick. Okay, plain and simple. Kind of slows you down a little bit when you don't feel like eating or moving. And so, but we've gotten tomatoes and peppers in. We got green beans over here in, and we've got some stuff down here as well. Cucumbers planted on this trellis, corn right here, and then popcorn planted down here. These teepees full of green beans as well. And now for some of you, you might think, oh, this is ridiculous. You've done this wrong, you've done this wrong, you've done this wrong. Some of you might say, oh, look, that's awesome. Some of you might think it's a great idea. Some of you might think it's innovative. Some people might think we're just thinking nuts, and maybe you're right. But one thing we've learned this year is that it's super important to be yourself. So many people garden differently, and so many people look for people on YouTube to tell them how to garden. What should I do this? How should I do this? How should I do this? We've taken advice from people, just ideas, and blended them together and did this and did that, and done things different ways and trying to see how does this work. And you're doing things that trying to be more productive, trying to help yourself out, trying to be more efficient, trying to do all this stuff. And then you wind up, like for us, we wind up looking back at it and go, well, this isn't like us. Well, that's not like what we do. We don't do things this way. You gotta be yourself in the garden, because the first thing a garden should be is enjoyable. And if what you've done in your garden isn't truly an expression of you and how you want to do things and how you want to, and how it works best for you, you're not gonna enjoy it. Like this year, we planted started corn plants, plain and simple. Okay, these are I started corn from seed and planted the little starts, which some people is gonna say is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sure an old timer is going to go in here and say, you don't start corn from seed and plant the plants, you just direct sow them and let them grow. Sure, okay, you absolutely can do that. Has not been productive for me. So I'm going to try to do things a little unconventionally, which is something I've thought about for years. And everybody's like, well, you don't start them like that. Well, then you go to the big box stores and you see started corn plants for $3 a plant when you can buy 75 to 100 seeds for $3 to $5. Well, that don't make no dang sense, does it? Of course not. But you can start them from seed. It's in a little pot and then plant the plant, right? Transplant it. It's just, it may be a little unconventional for the traditional folks. It doesn't mean it don't work, and it doesn't mean it won't work best for me. We put beans on teepees, which I think is a wonderful thing. Plenty of people do it. Some people think it's ridiculous. And it's totally okay if you do. I don't care. I know I can be ridiculous. That don't bother me in the slightest. but the thing is, we can't all be a cookie cutter design and do all of grow the same thing the same way in the same way. It just doesn't work that way. It's not fun. It's not the way we were created to be. We're created differently. We're all different. Absolutely, we're all different. My devotional this past week was we're all wired differently. We are. Absolutely, we all. And that's the beauty of what we do here. And that should be the beauty of the garden as well, is that it's enjoyable for us individually because it truly should be an expression of who you are. Like, okay, last year, Angela and I used weed fabric in our garden because we were like, weeds grow everywhere. Hard to get them out. We're hard to find time. Doing YouTube, shooting videos, editing videos, it adds, time to what you're doing. And when you plant things as much as we do around the yard in different ways, and always doing different stuff, and Angela cooking the way she does, and canning the way she does, and me having a full-time job, this weeding could be a task and a chore that if we could get rid of would be wonderful. It's like, so we bought the weed fabric and put it down, and it had its own benefits, also had its own negatives and cons, had pros and cons to it. So we had to look at it this year and say, was that truly like us or not? And the answer was that it's not. And being honest with you, I truly like the look of this better. Look at this, it looks so much better. Looking down, staring down these rows, all these tomato plants, all these pepper plants, everything there, and this bare, beautiful soil in between. Now, some people are going to want to say, you should mulch all that. Some people are going to say that weed fabric is what you should be using. Some people are going to say it looks great. Some people are going to hate it. Some people are going to love it. We love it. We enjoy it. You know, this enables us to do what we do and live like we live, and it helps us. I mean, being real with you, the weed fabric didn't work. It didn't. The plants didn't get the water they needed. The soil didn't get the water it needed. We're on a little slope here, so the water will get it. While that weed fabric does let water through the fabric, it only does it like if it's sitting flat. So like the water would run down, and if it puddled in a spot, then it would soak through in that puddle. But on a slight slope, water is going to run straight down. It just didn't work. And so we water individual plants where we had burned the holes in the fabric, and that water would then be absorbed by the rest of the soil that was dry. So we couldn't get enough water. Now, if you had a drip irrigation system ran underneath it, whatnot, it's going to work. But you got to buy an expensive system, have the fabric, do all this other stuff. Great, it might work great for some setups, and might work great for your setup. It didn't work for us, and those are reasons why it didn't. But either way, we also like to, you know, add chicken bedding to our garden. Like, okay, we used a silage tarp a couple of winters, right? And in that silage tarp, using that silage tarp over the winter, we couldn't keep adding and composting in place into our garden like we do, and so we actually didn't get as rich a soil as we would like to have. It also enabled tunneling critters. Okay, whatever critter it was, we don't know. It was like, hey, there's cover here. I can tunnel under here and get covered and be a little warmer in the winter time. And so it created a burrow essentially this way, all right, all down this way right here, and which is where we plant our peppers at. And so the next year we planted our peppers, and we always do great with peppers. That year we did not, because we planted a bunch of peppers and then they stopped growing because something tunneled underneath and got all the roots, cut all the roots short. So the root systems were really short, the plants were really short, and the fruit was very small and unproductive, because we used a silage tarp that attracted a critter to create a home right here. I had no idea what it was. Probably some form of mole, vole, something, whatever. Either way, it created a home right through here, and therefore peppers were not very productive. And we also couldn't add bedding and compost in place and manure and things of that nature throughout the whole winter like we normally do. All these things are really great ideas. They're wonderful, and people all over the place can do that, say it works best, and this is how you need to do this is how you need to do that. The fact is, especially if you've been growing food as long as we have, which is what, now this is our 10th, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 10th year. 10th year planting this garden. And before that, we grew food in containers, and a little in the ground, but mostly in containers, like on the back step of our apartment, okay? We've been growing food for a long time. We know what we do. We know how we do things and like how we like to do things, right? And it's okay if it's not like somebody else. It's okay if it doesn't work good for you. It's okay if it's different than you. We organically garden. My parents do not. Angela's mom does not. You know, it's all right. I would rather you organic garden, okay? Being real. It ain't my choice. It's not my choice. So do what you want to do. I'll encourage you to do one thing and tell you the benefits of what we think we do. It's okay if you don't do what we do. Angela planted popcorn right here. Most people don't plant popcorn. We do, because we love it. And we didn't space it the same as we spaced that. These are 1 foot apart, left to right, about. See, with your heart, measure with your heart as well. I kind of alternated, went back and forth. We got 20 plants there. I don't know how many seeds Angela used here. Pink popcorn here, blue popcorn here, several little rows, and it's totally okay. Did she space it the way I would space it? Probably not. Is it okay? Probably so. It's okay. I don't care. At the end of the day, you don't care. You gotta have fun. You gotta be enjoyable first, productive and efficient second, sure, because it stinks if you're just wasting a bunch of time and money for no reason. But like, if you don't enjoy it, what are you doing it for? There's a nice little row, about 8 feet long, of some Jacob's cattle beans. See this? 4 wide, 4 seeds wide. They're beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful seeds. This spot of my garden doesn't get any sun. Very little sun. How about that? Not any, but it's not completely zero, but very little. But we planted some some Jacob's cattle bean seeds here last year, and they're for shelling. They're dry beans, and so you can use them like baked beans and chili and whatnot. Okay, very, very underrated product, by the way. But I planted them here 4 wide all the way down, and it may be different than somebody else. I think it's super efficient. I planted it similar last year, didn't plant as many, but people don't garden like this all the time, and it's okay. I think it's innovative, and I think it's great, and a great use of this lower end of our garden. It's our property, our garden, our spot. We understand it, and it's where it works best for us. We also eat that, right? We also eat that stuff. So why not? And I enjoy it. I have an unnatural obsession and enjoyment of growing dry beans. Okay, I think it's undervalued and underrated, underappreciated, and you just don't get the quality and the flavor out of the store. I mean, you're gonna get black beans, kidney beans, red kidney beans, dark red kidney beans, pinto beans, you know, all the basics, right? You're not getting that bean out of the store. And you're just not, and there's no way you could possibly do it, and there's no way you're gonna get the quality of that, and the meatiness of it and everything. You're not getting it. So I grow it. So I'm gonna get it. But the point is, be yourself in the garden. Now, at some point in time you find that what you're doing and how you're doing it is getting on your nerves, maybe you should learn a little bit extra and do something different, and use those methods in process of being yourself. It's okay to flex off of what you do here and there to be more productive, because that's also enjoyable. But stay true to your heart, stay true to who you are, and understand that just because it works good for somebody doesn't mean it's going to work great for everybody. And enjoy gardening. Love growing food. Fall in love with the garden. Learn lessons from the garden. Allow yourself to be molded by your garden. All right. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it. My name is Jason. This is Art of Creation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.